It's finally happened. I've run out of time-lapse footage to use for videos. I must now resort to reusing earlier footage. This will have no bearing on the videos whatsoever. I want to say about maybe 3 weeks ago, I made a video summarising my progress on my art project. Now the weeks for that are now over. There's a bit of work I didn't end up completely finishing. Hopefully, that work will be completed, but the point is that's basically over. New project, all I have to do is summarise, I don't have to do this, but I'm going to summarise it, the rest of it. So first of all, to quickly recap, this project was on the topic of well-being. I chose the well-being activity of diary keeping and the specialism of illustration, specifically digital illustration, because I'm experienced with both of those things, diary keeping and digital illustration. As for my research, I have researched Hirohiko Araki, Nell Null, Julia Lepetite, Roberto Boffo, Peter Saville, and a bit of Damien Hirst as well, more specifically his spot paintings. My wider context research, that being research that looks at the sort of bigger picture surrounding your main area of interest, your sort of topic, has included looking at physical and digital diaries, looking at free writing, looking at diary history, other kinds of diary types like, for example, school planners. Slightly later on, I looked at the both positive and negative effects of journaling and how to also tackle those negative effects, and I've looked at emotion and heart rates. I don't know if I actually mentioned the research on emotion and heart rate, or if that actually came after my previous video on this, but I did research on that as well. As for techniques, the main one I used, the most influential one, would be Procreate's Warp tool, which I definitely looked at heavily. I actually found its usefulness in my free time, and I incorporated it into the project later on, which is not the first time I've done something like that. So now on to the things I did after making that video. Starting off, I can probably mention the survey I did on Google Forms. I don't think this was in the previous video, maybe it was, I don't remember. Point is, I made a survey that looked at people's opinions on the meanings of colour, and also at people's experiences with diary keeping. 6 people took the survey. Here are the results. So after that survey was done, there was basically like one other thing to do, and that was focus on actually making ideas for my final piece. For a while, I was quite stuck on the idea of having a diary image at the centre of the whole piece, with effects around it. I believe I looked at this in a previous video, and I did actually keep with that for quite a while. I stuck with that for some time until I eventually decided to make a sort of more refined diary image. This one's a bit less symmetrical, it's got some pages turning, adds a bit more motion. I tried different ideas with waves and like towers of circles, and eventually I just thought, hey, what if instead I made waves of circles? Now, unlike previous sort of matrices of circles, this time I coloured each circle individually. Also, to clarify, I don't think I clarified in the previous video, to do this I basically just use a mixture of Procreate's decimals and rosette brushes, which both create just large patterns of dots, but in kind of different ways. After creating these waves of circles, I then moved on to the next idea, which was removing the diary image entirely and just having waves of circles. This is not actually the first time a project of mine has become noticeably more abstract from what I originally intended. It's a weird pattern actually. When I do a project with a lot of sort of research and thought, it ends up becoming a lot more abstract. This creates an interesting divide where the art made on project and in college is just more abstract than the art I make in my free time. I could provide examples of art made in my free time, but you are looking at it right now, so there's not much of a point. In fact, this also happened with my first project for college as well, where I thought of making something more human and ended up making this. So here's something I did not anticipate. That's like all the rest of the project work really. The previous video covered the main bulk of it. This was all just kind of the latter parts really. there wasn't really much else to do at this point. In like the last week or so of this project, I kind of thought, I got this in the bag, because I've been on top of my work for once. There have been like no points of stress at all. And then by the last week, I realized, I actually have to present this work in a certain way. So that means I need to actually get these things printed, which means I need to wait. Not only that, but I also have to stick them onto this backboard. They have to paint white and wait to dry as well. And I've trimmed down these printouts too small, so now I cannot stick them onto the backboard in an interesting way, which means I need to wait for more paper to be printed. However, the tech department was out of matte paper, the kind of paper I was using. The only kind of paper they had left by that end was regular paper, which I wasn't going to use. So I had to wait until half term was over. As of recording, this Tuesday. I do not have those prints done, because they still don't have matte paper delivered to that apartment. And I have to get this done by Friday. However, there is one saving grace. Technically, you do not need to have your final piece done and presented, because you can still get a good grade, you can still get a passing grade, as long as you put in your final evaluation that, I couldn't actually get this done on time. Just actually have that. That will still go towards a grade. Your progress will still be noticed. You'll still have done on your research. You have presented your ideas for the final piece. You just won't have it completed. So it's not the end of the world, unless you're a perfectionist. So yeah, I think it's safe to say, I'm not going to fail college. I'm not going to be barred from ever entering university. Believe it or not, life is not over because you messed up once. I am 17 years old. I am not going to die soon. My life has not been wasted because I made a single mistake. Believe it or not, life does not end before 30. And keep in mind, this stuff about final evaluations, the whole grading system, I'm speaking from the point of view of University of Arts London. So, if you're entering a UAL arts course, this information might be useful. Yeah, I have nothing else to say in this video. I've basically said everything. I did a project in an arts course. I have a new one that has to be done as well. That's really it. However, as you can see, this time-lapse has not completed itself yet, which means that theoretically, I need to say more things to pad out the runtime. For example, wait, hold on, I have a good one. Look at this Discord screenshot I dubbed. I'm so used to this GIF exploding. Why won't it explode? Please, you're scaring me. Why did it cut off like that? I swear. Why did it not finish the entire word? I said the entire word ignite. I don't know why that's not in the... That's a weird cutoff.